Hey guys, so we just had a pretty interesting part 1 reveal for the Dragon Ball Legends 7th anniversary. I think there's quite a bit of controversy surrounding what just happened. Some good, some bad, mostly bad. But let's go ahead and just jump into a community response. I did make a post over on Twitter asking for people to post their thoughts on what we saw. And I just did a quick summarization of some pros and cons. I have Ryud in here, by the way. This is going to be a part 2 to a 2-part discussion. The first part is over on his channel, so I'll leave that in the description. Go ahead and check that out before you watch this one, because this will kind of just be a continuation of that discussion. But just for the pros and cons here, I'm just going to quickly summarize this. Pros, good character animations. I think the animations for UI Goku and Vegeta were really good. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, dude, MUI, even the sound effects, that he has like a different sound that plays when he dodges. It's kind of like a wind cutting just whoosh, whoosh, noise when he flies around. Really, really good.
I really like both characters' transformations. I think they look really good, both of them.
Yeah, they definitely nailed those. You know what's funny is they didn't label it a transformation. They're calling it Master Ultra Instinct.
It's the 2018 transformation mechanic. Mega Bonanza upped the entire celebration with Ultra Bonanza's weave-in, and I think they actually did say that they're going to start the celebration with an Ultra Bonanza, which is not something we've seen. Usually, Ultra Bonanzas only happen during the third part of these major celebrations, so that is good. The Goku and Frieza, the LF Goku and Frieza are getting unique equipment tomorrow, and I think the reason why they're fast-tracking that is just because they really want to make sure that the Universe Rep team is up to speed right away, because it's been neglected for a year and a half. Then we have 3 times Z-Power. This actually probably is the biggest pro out of the entire reveal. This is something that we have not seen since Legends Fest 2021. November 2021 was the last time we had 3 times Z-Power. The only time we had 3 times Z-Power. So,
you know, fun fact about that, it's the first time we ever see that crazy amount of Z-Power, and I had to use the pity system. Holy crap.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen again. Let's hope there's also new summon animations.
Oh, dude, if there isn't, oh my god, I'm expecting yet another video from you saying, like, what have you been working on then? It's been 5 years.
I will do a rant video if there is no new summon animations. I've already made that promise. I will do one.
It's gonna be great.
One other pro that I actually forgot to put on here is there is a lot of free CC being given out. A lot. Like, there's a lot. Probably more than we've ever seen. So that, that's something that I think will actually fly under the radar, but it is something to point out. Now for the cons. I do, unfortunately, I try to stay positive most of the time. I try to look at the bright side of things, but unfortunately, I do think the cons here, not only do they outweigh the pros, I think there's quite a big difference here between the pros and cons. No new mechanics at all. I think for me, this is like, a very short bullet here, but this to me outweighs every single pro by quite a bit. And the reason why is because we talked about this on your part, the first part of this, but the fact that they're hyping up this app update for basically a full year now. Remember, they started talking about this in the middle of the 6th anniversary. Yeah. And, increasing the RAM requirement. We're going to do this. They even started this reveal by saying, we are in the middle of our biggest update plan ever. And then they reveal the characters, and there's like no new mechanics. There's no groundbreaking system changes. There's nothing. And so they've set their own bar with the 6th anniversary, right? They set their bar themselves there last year. We didn't pass the bar during Legends Fest. Okay, we didn't meet that bar. So, okay, maybe they're saving it for the anniversary. Maybe they look at that as just a step above Legends Festival, and they're saving the big stuff for then. Okay, so here we are, 7th anniversary, part 1. I wouldn't even... There's no argument. Like, it's not like, oh, you could say it's better. No, there literally is not a single argument you can make that this is inherently and objectively a more... I guess just... There's more value in this first part of the celebration than there was last year. The amount of effort and dev time and resources that went into last year's part 1 clearly is much better. Is that crazy to say?
No, and you know what? The fact that the opinions of this part 1 are so polarizing is enough. It should never be divided like this, because 6th year anniversary, it was an overwhelming wow, they nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just go back and look at last year's the reaction to last year's part 1. I don't think anybody was upset. Right, it was the first ever fusing characters, synchro gauge mechanic. All the animations were spotless. We had pretty fun 1% sparkings. The green Broly was fun. The Supreme Kai ended up becoming a meme, but he was fun too. I think in terms of
Assault Chain.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, it didn't age well as a mechanic, but it was cool. Yeah,
it was still like I'm not counting Vegito's Rising Rush thing. It doesn't really feel like a new mechanic truly, like in the same degree of what Assault Chain is, but it's still like new, quote unquote. New. Like it was both in-game fusing and different attack behaviors. Like they really went above and beyond for these characters. Really good animations too. Like those LFs. Whoo.
Yeah, Assault Chain, in terms of innovation, clears anything we got for this reveal, which is kind of sad. Okay, no utilization of the app update for new in-battle systems. Yeah, we talked about that already. It's kind of insane. Extremely underwhelming for what was built up to be the biggest celebration of all time. This kind of just goes against their entire build-up for this. They themselves were doing this. It wasn't like, oh, the community is over anticipatory of what we're going to get here. They are the culprit. They did it. They were talking about this update for the past year, okay? It really wasn't until, I would say like the beginning of April where they really started to give us, I would almost say like weekly updates on things that we were going to be seeing, building things up for the anniversary, the UI overhaul, all these things. And they really were driving home how big of a change this was going to be. And we didn't see any of that in this reveal. Nothing that happened in this reveal is reliant upon us having that update in the game. The update might as well not have happened. So that was really disappointing. It was way too long. We talked about this in your part as well, but like the last third, this was like a 50+ minute reveal. The last third of this thing felt like I was watching an infomercial where they were talking about the collab with the Fusion World card game and the Shallot figure and the acrylic panel giveaway on social media. Like, yo, I get it, but if you really add up the entire time that was spent talking about social media, talking about collabs, it probably ended up coming up to 40% of the total thing. So it was just way too long.
This is just a small tidbit for the figure arts. You know what I found weird? The Giblets figure arts has additional parts for Shallot.
They do that a lot. Yeah, that's a thing that figure arts does a lot. I said in my reaction to this, I'm like, I'm not too well versed when it comes to collecting these figurines, but is that not weird? Like a weird motivation to get you to buy both? That is a very scummy thing that figure arts does a lot. I think that there's a Goma, like a mini Goma figure, and I think he comes with an extra face for Diamond.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that's something they do. But yeah, anyway, these are just the points that I wanted to convey before we move into the responses from the community here. So let's go through some of these responses here and we can give our thoughts on these. My summarization is that it's literally Fest 2024 Part 1. Yes, very similar. 2 transforming God Key units with 3 times Z power slapped on top of it. They work their asses off with that upgrade. RAM update remains the top 10 biggest mysteries in the world. Yeah, there is nowhere in this reveal that justifies them needing to increase the minimum amount of RAM required to run the game by almost 3 times. Right? Yeah. I mean, he's right. What was the point?
Well, yeah, don't forget, there is a percentage of the player base that just can't play anymore, right? Like, you cut people off. I would like to think that those people not being able to play the game anymore is justifiable. Show us.
We have Jordan consulting the almighty Grok. They just yapped about collabs that have zero correlation to the anniversary. I mean, I wouldn't say there's zero, but yeah, this was unnecessary. Events that are reused every celebration. Yeah, so this is also something that I actually didn't even put in the post, though. I don't really have an issue with the current go-to major celebration format. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's, at this point, very boring if they're going to just repeat the same format every 6 months. It would have been nice if they did something different. I mean, they did kind of introduce that new thing where it's like a team battle thing. I don't know. It was kind of it was kind of weird, but that's at least new. But I want them to do more unique things. That's what I'm looking for. Not that the format is bad, because I actually think it's quite good. You get a lot of free stuff. You get a lot of resources for playing the game. I just want something different.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't bring Hoi Poi back.
yeah, that for me is something that's probably going to be later. I forget with Infest if they did that at the beginning or if they added it in part 2. I don't remember, but
okay, just seems like they're bringing back so many things that's been their go-to, but not Hoi Poi, really?
Yeah, don't know. Nothing new to show for since they leaked the units 3 days early. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how big of a difference it would have made if they weren't leaked, but I don't think it would have had too much of an impact. Like we mentioned in your part, the Legends Fest part 1 situation, almost identical to this, and there was quite a bit of outrage over that as well. So I don't think that us having the prior knowledge of those characters really matters at the end of the day, but it would have been interesting to see the difference, I guess, but we'll never know. Leveling up gauge for Vegeta, is that what the RAM is for? No, that's certainly not. Certainly not. New summon animations. Yeah, I've said this before. I will do a rant video if there's no new summon animations. Basically the same thoughts. There's good things that are nice, but the bad, oh boy, there's not even a new event. This is just recycled Year 6 with worse headliners in every way, with the same problem as Year 6 of them sharing most tags too. I don't know if I'd really call that an inherent problem. The main issue is just the fact that they neglected the Universe Rep tag for a year and a half, right? That's the main issue with that. I think at the end of the day, if we're going to summarize the major problem with this, it was just the fact that there wasn't any captivating mechanic. That's what we're looking for. We've mentioned this before in some of the discussion videos we made when the leaks first happened, but at least from my perspective, we are 7 years into the game. You are not going to capture new players and the hearts of longtime veterans of this game by just dropping Vegito Blue number 4, Gogeta Blue number 4, UI Goku number 3. You're not going to do that unless they're coming out with interesting abilities also. You have to do both. You have to drop hype characters, but then they also have to be interesting in some way. So that to me is where they kind of missed the mark. You agree with that?
Yeah, I'm with that. If anything, MUI feels like he pulled back a bit. He doesn't have the auto clash win anymore.
I actually did notice that as well. I'm not sure why. I mean, it is super powerful, but I mean, that was like one of the trademark mechanics of the original one. So,
listen, I'll take it, dude. Anything to stop him from being annoying, I'll take it.
Yeah. I don't think the current version of it is that crazy, but I think Vegeta's ability to evolve his unique age is pretty interesting. I do think that is cool. Yeah, I think that's cool, but that's not like what we were looking for going into this, right? It is a cool mechanic. I think it actually does seem pretty good because you're going to be able to just compound the ways that he's able to charge the gauge up. But in terms of what we were looking for to start off what was advertised as essentially the biggest celebration in the history of this game, we could do better. We could do better. Yeah. If the leak didn't happen, the hype factor would have carried more weight. But yes, agreed on all this. Questionable. I mean, we'll never know because we can't go back in time and erase the leak, right? But I don't know. Again, I just point to Legends Fest 2024 Part 1, and that was the same. The structure was the exact same as this, and people were still upset. So, if we didn't get the characters leaked, it would be infuriating that they let this happen. The fact it got leaked and that was really all they had except Kaba is really funny. I think people like the fact that we had the leak happen and then so many people were not even just like theorizing we'd get more, but kind of like convinced that there would be more speaks to what this is, right?
Yeah.
That in itself kind of speaks to it.
I'm in that boat. I couldn't help but think, no way. There's got to be more.
I mean, I was kind of buying into it too. I'm like, there's more, right? Because like, I don't know.
Yeah. Damn.
I do think it's comparable between Legends Fest and Anniversary, but I think Anniversary is like a notch above Legends Fest in terms of what they hold the standard to. So I was really hopeful. Let's pull up the full tweet here. The way made it seem was that it'll be mind-blowing and expect insanity. So I expected stage destruction, talking during fighting more than just the beginning, depending on an opponent. Giant mode for certain characters for a short amount of time. Team LFs for certain units when alive. Strong units when clashing can cause dimension shatter and may have different effects in that dimension, but we just got transforming units. My fault for expecting more. And this is the problem. I think when you're talking about player expectations in a gaming community, 9 times out of 10, at least, it is not the player's fault for expecting more. A lot of times it is the actual development team for setting the expectations and then not meeting those expectations. What do you think about that?
No, I agree 100%. If they didn't spend so much time talking about how this is going to be the update to smoke all updates, then I think people would have kept their expectations a little bit lower. Because, you know, we've been burned before. 4th year anniversary, the previous Legends Festival. If they at least just didn't keep talking about it like this, people would have been like, all right, I'm going to keep my expectations low. But here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like what they said. It's about what happened last year. Right? Last year, part 1, they're just never gonna eclipse that ever? It's just 6th anniversary, just forever gonna be the peak of this game. That's what it feels like. I don't know. That's kind of what it's feeling like to me.
I want to say I think they can beat it, but then you're gonna call me a fool for still being so optimistic because we talked about it in my part too. You're like, oh, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't know.
The trailer was AI generated, apparently.
Really?
I don't know. I'll have to look into this, but I wouldn't be surprised. To be honest, the animations on LFs are kind of mid. Really? I think the animations are good. That is one area where I was pretty content with. The actual animations felt good to me. For me, I think my favorite animations from the characters were the transformations. I thought both characters have really good transformation animations. I mean, Goku's is the better one, but I do like the 3 times, but hate that we get getting 39 LFs or whatever. Yeah, that is something we're going to have to actually see how they're handling, because if they're splitting the rates or something between all of them, then yeah, it's going to be terrible. But I think what's probably going to happen... let me pull this up, actually. I think what's probably going to happen is, let's just take the Kid Goku banner as an example, right? If we look at how this is structured, I think what's going to happen is all these unfeatured characters, I think they're just going to take rates away from some of these guys and give them it'll be the standard 0.25% rates for every kind of other LF character, but they'll just take rates away from other sparkings. I think is how they're going to do it.
Does that fall into the category of optimism that I had? I don't know.
I mean,
they're gonna find some way to say, oh, 3 times Z power, we gotta pull back somewhere. It's too much value.
You know what it really feels like when you think about it? It really feels like they're almost pinpointing new players for this entire part 1.
Yeah.
Because that format is for a new player. Just being able to get a ton of new characters. They have all those tickets they're giving out. And the comeback and new player bonuses are just ridiculous. And they even said during, I think it was when they were talking about the comeback stuff, they're like, this is not even something we're planning on doing for future anniversaries. So for me, it almost feels like this is almost entirely marketed towards new or returning players as opposed to players that have been playing the game for a long time, which is kind of weird, because for me, an anniversary celebration is supposed to be celebrating your player base.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. I feel like people are being overly negative. I understand why people are mad, but I feel like this is better than Legends Festival 24 Part 1. And that's good enough for me. And let's not forget 3 times Z power. Yeah, okay. You cannot compare this to Legends Fest Part 1 simply because of the 3 times Z power. But in terms of the structure of what the characters are bringing to the table, it just feels like it's a copy and paste of that. Right? I think this is a big deal, actually. I think once people are starting to summon on the banner, and it takes them half the amount of CC or whatever to get to the star level they want on these characters, people are going to be thankful for that. I think this is not a negligible point at all. And I think overall, there definitely are people that are being overly negative. I've seen people say, oh, the game is going to die. This is a death sentence for the game. And while I do think this unfortunately, I do think this actually does real damage to the game, it's still mastered UI Goku, dude. People are coming from far and wide to summon for mastered UI Goku. People are going to be coming back to the game that haven't played since the OG mastered UI Goku drop. Maybe mastered UI Goku is your favorite character. There's a lot of people, I would bet, that have their favorite character as mastered UI Goku. So there's going to be a lot of people coming back. They're going to be making out like a bandit on this part 1. They're going to be making truckloads of money. That's not a problem. The game is not dying. The game is not going to, all of a sudden fall through the floor here. But I do think this does damage the game.
Those poor souls are gonna come back, get their MUI, fight Daima, and then leave.
Yeah. Welcome
100%.
Welcome to Daima Land.
Not to mention, better than Legends Fest 2024 Part 1. Is that the tallest bar to beat? I don't know, dude.
That's not exactly what we want to be comparing this to 6th Anniversary Part 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's kind of strange too? If they're going to be marketing this towards new players, I feel like they should have just kept the Daima banners up for more time. It's a little weird.
Who knows?
Pros, leaked units, combo headliner, cons, everything else. Yeah. Pros 3x Z power. Oh yeah, this guy's good. This is a jolly fellow here. I mean, if you don't think 3x Z power is a pro, then you just don't play the game. And this is you're just trolling with this, because that is, people still point to Legends Fest 2021 as one of the most successful celebrations of all time. Right? Yep. There is no objective universe where you can say 3x Z power is not a pro. So.
Yeah, listen, I didn't even get to leverage it, and I think it's a pro. I had the pity system. I got screwed.
Hate how in a massive event like an anniversary, there's no incentive for any innovation at all. The gauge for UI, MUI is a copy and paste, true. The Vegeta LF is a better animation, copy and paste, true. I hate when for big events like the anniversary, they do something that's bland and boring. Yeah, again, just look at the 6th anniversary and just do that again. Just do that again. Come up with a new mechanic for 2 characters. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be different mechanics. Have it be a new mechanic that both characters are bringing to the table, right? That worked last time. Just do it again.
I have a question for you, actually. Yeah. The auto dodging animation is the same. Is that a red flag for you, or do you think it's okay just because it's not seen that frequently? Are you okay with that?
I mean, it would have been nice for it to be different, but I personally don't feel it's the biggest issue. What do you think?
Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it too. Like, this is an anniversary character, and you know, surely they could have animated a different way for him to dodge attacks. There's no way, right?
Because even even Ultra UI Sign Goku has the same ones, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Is that just his thing? That's the only animation he's ever gonna get for dodging stuff? No way.
I don't know. We'll see. Let's see when the Ultra comes out in 2028.
or they just double down MUI both parts.
Yeah. All right, we'll do a few more here. The main problem with this game is that there's no innovation on a constant basis. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is. They give us something new every other 2 years, then go on cruise control. Yeah, like I said, I think I've said this. They're basically clipping coupons with these. With Legends Fest 2024 and the 7th anniversary, they are clipping coupons. And what I mean by that is, instead of innovating like they did with the 6th anniversary, instead of giving us new mechanics, they're looking at the hypest characters, Beast Gohan, UI Goku, Vegito Blue, Gogeta Blue, and they're just saying, here's the same character with a 2018 transformation mechanic, and that's all we're gonna do. And we know you're gonna summon anyway, and so we're not even gonna take the extra effort to innovate here, and we're just gonna collect our payday. That's what I mean by when I say clipping coupons with these characters, and that's what they do. We need to hold them to that higher standard. And I think that's why a lot of this outrage is happening here, is because people are holding them to that higher standard and they're just not coming through with that.
Yeah, we said this before. We know what they're capable of, and that's why we're going to be so critical of it, because they can really be great. That's why it's more disappointing when they drop the ball.
Yeah. I mean, again, I forget the phrase I used in your part, but like, the 6th anniversary Part 1 standard was something that they set. They did it. So we know they could do it again. They did it once. Why can't they do it a second time?
I think you said they didn't meet their own standard. That's what it was.
Well, yeah. So this 7th anniversary Part 1 did not meet their own standard that they set last year. That is a true statement. We'll do one more. I personally think it's an amazing Part 1, but that's because I personally didn't set my expectations that high. I've wanted a new MUI for 3 years. I'm super happy with this result. Another annoying thing is that it was one of the longest reveals yet. I felt it had little info. Yeah, that is a issue. I mentioned that in the original post, where I just said it's way too long. So yeah, I guess we can wrap there.
Whoa. You got to read that JP Fanbase one. What is he saying? What is he saying?
That's an interesting idea, saving Daima Goku for the anniversary. I guess they had more faith in UI Goku.
Oh man, what that? Oh my god, that just reminds me. If Daima is part 2, is that a green flag for you or a red flag? Is that bad to you?
No, because Daima's the newest thing. I think they're just gonna pump it out. For me, that's just kind of more of a we got to get the hype stuff out now thing.
Man, I don't know. Now I definitely feel a tiny bit worried. If it really is Daima for part 2, like, I don't know. For Legends, for part 1 for 6th year, when part 2 was more Majin Buu Saga, I think people kind of stomached more Majin Buu Saga buffs a little bit better just because the part 1 was so strong. But what if, a tone-deaf decision of more Daima when part 1 didn't really meet people's expectations? Is that just going to hurt more?
This is a good way to summarize it too. They'll never understand that part 1 has to be beyond exceptional and carry the hype. A poor part 1 sets a sour note for the rest of what can still be an amazing celebration. Yeah, this is what happened with Legends Fest. I think part 2 and part 3 of Legends Fest were good. I don't think part 2 was exceptional, but it was good. Part 3 I thought was good too. But part 1 was just, you can't start out with 1 foot in the mud in this game. It doesn't work. So
yeah.
Anyway, anything you want to wrap this with, or have we beaten this to death at this point?
Don't let our opinions take away from your enjoyment of the game, the celebration, and the characters themselves. If you love MUI and Vegeta and you're completely happy with what you saw, then that's okay. The only reason why we're going to be very critical of them is because we've been here for a while. We want to see fresh new takes on things, and we know how amazing this game can be, the things that they can do. And when they drop the ball, it's just all the more disappointing in them. It's like when you see somebody with a lot of talent and they don't measure up to that, it's just a disappointment to themselves. They let themselves down. And for you, it's kind of painful to witness. And that's what this feels like. It kind of hurts seeing Legends stumble over its own feet, because people are a little bit more critical of Legends as a game, no matter what, right? Just because it is a PvP gacha game. So when they make mistakes, people just surgically dissect it and criticize it to no end. That's why it has to work so much harder to do things right. 6th year was just so good. And, it kind of stinks when they drop the ball.
We are kind of approaching the point where we might want to start almost categorizing the 6th anniversary as a mistake on their end. Maybe they just went too hard with it. To the point where to the point where maybe they just can't wrap. Maybe they actually just don't have what it takes to do it again.
Now I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna give them this festival. This is my last hope, last major celebration. I think they can do it. I really do think Legends can do it. I don't know. I have this weird faith that they can deliver. But Legends Fest this year will be like the final opportunity. Like if Legends Fest this year is just like everything else, where it's just a transforming character with nothing unique to them, then at that point we can all agree they're cruising. They're on cruise control at this point. They're coasting with the IP, and they're kind of just done with trying to come up with new things. I don't know. Yeah. If the Legends Fest this year is underwhelming like this and similar to the previous Legends Fest, then at that point, all right, they're coasting now. They know it. They know they can get away with it. Or their eyes are not to us who have been here since day one. It's for the people that are new to the game. That's why this animation, this mechanic, this everything is quote unquote new, and they can get away with it. They've never seen a transforming character before, so they probably think they can get away with it. They don't care about, I guess the veterans. They're focusing more on the new players, which goes along with everything you said earlier.
Yeah, I don't know, I've seen some people talk about this too, but the fact that it's just not Ultra UI and it's an LF instead, dude, they could have done sick things with these characters even though they're just LFs, right? I mean, there's a million mechanics they could have introduced with these guys and they just didn't, so I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna leave it there. If you guys want to contribute to the discussion, please let us know down below what you think about the situation. There are clearly going to be people who feel strongly on the pro side, feel strongly on the con side. Unfortunately for me, this does feel a lot more heavily con to me, just in terms of what we saw so far. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I try to look at things in a positive light, but unfortunately, I just can't in this instance. I just don't think they met the expectations that we had for them. So Hopefully you guys enjoyed this anyway. Make sure to find part 1 in the description on Rise channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.